Welcome to the Two-Way Street podcast with Rick Harris of Work Boot Consulting and Rob Berry of St. Louis Bath and Renovations. Our aim is to bridge the gap between contractors and consumers. Remember, communication is always a two-way street.
Welcome to the Two-Way Street podcast. I'm Rick Harris of Work Boot Consulting. I'm joined by my good friend, Robert Berry from St. Louis Bath and Renovation. And I always enjoy these conversations. And today, Rob, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about successes and failures and what we learned from those. And we could let it branch off into a number of areas. But as soon as I give you guys this topic, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're paying attention, if you've ever made a mistake in your life, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, the contractor that comes up to your house that you've asked him to give you a bid on your project, you need a new deck, you need new plumbing, you need a new roof, whatever, fill in the blank. The contractor that shows up to your house, unless he's 19 years old, if he pulls up to your house in a nice truck or a nice clean truck and he's got his uniform on, some sort of company branding, he's got his clipboard or his recording device, his smartphone. He's got all these things, these accoutrements that when we have the right uniform on, we look the part. Well, that contractor that's showing up to your house, this is probably, if he shows up like that, probably not his first time. It's probably his 500th time. And you, Mr. and Mrs. John Q. Public, I'm just saying consider that, because he's prepared for your meeting, not because he has never sold any jobs, not because he hasn't had any successes, but you and I both learn from our mistakes more from our failures, don't we? And that's my premise. That's the premise for today, that we learn more from our successes and failures. Contractors, in this world, we like to say to the clients that may not see our value, we tell them, hey, you're paying us for the years, not the hours. And so just consider as a consumer that the contractor that you're seeing, if he's coming prepared and he's clean, sharp, and he's on the ball, he's punctual, this is probably the 500th time that he's done this. It's certainly not his first. And that contractor also needs to give you, the client, some grace, because you, the client, may not have all the perfect answers before. If you're like my company, if you need a bathroom remodeled, how many times do you think about having your bathroom remodeled? You're not. You're not thinking about that. But I've had that conversation as many times as you guys have asked, what are we having for dinner? And that's how many times I've had that conversation. You guys may not be thinking about your bathroom renovation until you see a water stain on the ceiling from the floor beneath, and that's right beneath our bathroom. What's that going on? And you're not thinking about remodeling the bathroom, but because of that leak, you think, well, shoot, if we got to tear that open, let's just do it all. But we learn more from our failures than our successes, and that's the premise of that, so that we can give grace to one another, from contractor to client, and certainly from client to contractor. And
right.
Rick and I will often talk about things prior to when we start recording, but I didn't quite pose that question to Rick when I mentioned that. So, Rick, what are your thoughts when I say that we learn more from our failures than our successes, and couching that with, how could a client be better prepared for the contractor that's about to show up? And also, how can a contractor be better prepared for that client, to put them into the consumer's shoes when a stranger's asking for money?
Well, it was interesting. I said this the other day to somebody, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And I have had some glorious failures over the years doing.
Wait, you're not perfect?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, with hair like that? Are you kidding?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. but I also remember the good things that had happened. And if we take note of the screw ups that we've had, but if we don't take time and pause to say, well, why did that screw up?
Mm,
What did we do? How can we make sure it never happens again and never make that mistake again? Same thing happens when we succeed and things go extremely well. You do whatever it is you do and it went extremely well, but you don't take the time to pause and say, well, what was it about that we did that went really well?
mm. And for you
And
listeners, Rick just got the gold star because he just jumped right. We could have milked this for 30 minutes and Rick just jumped to it in 4 seconds. That
right.
when we fail, what does it help us? What does it benefit us to reflect on what we failed or why
Yeah.
we failed rather?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's one of the things where if you are not making a record of how you succeeded or failed, like a recipe, you will you will be doomed to make those same mistakes over and over and over again. So
Mm,
um, it's all about keeping track of the things that you do. So when a contractor shows up to your door, whether it's for a renovation or a service call or that sort of thing, it is important to ask, do you have experience with this? We talked about before about the client I had who had a foundation repair company renovate their washroom, and it was horrific. And that would be a case if somebody showed up. It is important. It is on, and obviously you've gone through the qualifying process with your client, or if your client, you're qualifying the contractor, and you're qualifying them for a bunch of different ways. Checking their rating, their reviews. Getting talking to your friends, your neighbors, who have you used, who do you know, that sort of thing. But when somebody shows up at your home as a contractor, the contractor should be qualifying the client as well to make sure that they're a good fit. And don't be afraid to ask the contractor, have you done this before? What do you see? Do you see any issues with this? And somebody who's confident in their ability will not be offended by those questions at all. And as a
yeah, Rick,
contractor,
prove to me you're a good business coach.
right? Exactly. Well,
Rob, prove to me you know how to frame a wall. Okay, grab your tape measure. Let's go.
yeah, exactly. So you have to. It always comes down to doing your due diligence, and your due diligence. The apprenticeship is meant for it gives you grace while you're making mistakes. So you apprentice under somebody who knows what they're doing, and they teach you the proper way of doing it. You have to pay attention while it's happening. The person that came before you has made mistakes. They may not admit it, but they have made mistakes, and hopefully they've
Mm,
learned from them. So you don't want that person coming by to do a repair or replace something or renovate or build or anything to be inexperienced. You do want to have some experience, and that comes with time. I'm not saying a very young person isn't qualified to do the work, but I mean, if they're 16, 17, 18 years old, unless they've been raised in a family in an environment, but that's what they did, they're probably not qualified to do the work. And
shoot,
people
I was raised in it. But since 13, but I didn't know everything.
no.
Like by the time I was, let's say, 10 years in, I didn't know everything. I knew way more than most 30-year-olds at that time, but I still had tons to learn, right? Because you
Oh
learn
yeah.
different things at 13 than you do at 23, 33, 43, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're and about approaching something. If you've never done it before, you don't tear into it. You take a step back. You use your years of knowledge that this has happened. Something like this similar has happened that was similar, and you use your problem solving skills to figure it out. No two projects are exactly the same. No two repairs are exactly the same. But there's commonalities to it. So I would not be offended if somebody asked me, "Do you have experience doing this?" And if you're a good person, you tell them. If you don't have experience, then you say, "No, I do not have experience with this. I'm probably not the best fit for this."
You made
Yeah.
me think of something.
What's that?
The older I get, the more I relish telling you what I don't know. But the 21-year-old me did not know anything that you didn't know. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
The older I get, Rick, man, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked me that. I don't know that answer, but I know this, and this, the resources to find XYZ.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I will get you that answer by Friday at 4 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
I'll get you that. I love telling you what I don't know now because that conveys honesty.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So those are the types of things that, like, a general contractor doesn't know how to do every single thing, but they do have to have skills in something, and usually they're skilled carpenters. And the general contractor, but the general contractor has to have a basic idea of how everything else works. The plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC, all that stuff. They have to have an understanding of it. And chances are most general contractors have had a run at doing certain things along the way, and they can do it. And that's the thing. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And
Concrete company remodeling the bathroom.
that's right. That's right. So you want somebody to come in who is a specialist if in certain things inside your home or your office. You don't want the tile setter doing the painting. You don't want the painter doing the electrical. You don't want the electrician doing the painting. So you want specialists to do that. But general contractors, they come in and they will run the project and then they contract out portions of it. That's what a general contractor is, in my opinion. So don't be afraid to ask them, call a specialist. If you're going to call a handyman, you get a certain level of skill. Some handymen are very good at what they do in multiple areas. Some are not very good at a whole bunch of things, or kind of good at a whole bunch of things, but they may or may not have a specialty. So you have to pick and choose. And the more qualified, the more skilled you are, the more you're going to pay for it because that person's been around for a long time. They've had a lot of successes, they've had a lot of failures, they've learned from both, and now they're confident to come run your project right from start to finish. And it's not just the thing that they're doing, it's the way they do it, the way they manage the project, the communication, the pricing, all that other stuff that comes along with it. So a lot of stuff
Mm.
there, but you do have to have some battle scars. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if I could give some cliff notes on from what I heard you say there, the juice has got to be worth the squeeze and for the
Mm-hmm.
client to hire a contractor. And I'll tell you, contractor, you're gonna get you'll get as much leeway, as much grace from the client just by knowing the price of the if you knew nothing else,
Mm-hmm.
know the price of the job and stick to that. If you didn't find anything new, and the customer didn't change things, they didn't add or subtract something. If you tell a customer it's 25 grand and you come in at 25 grand or a little bit under or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
if your high point, if you've already told them your high point and you come in at that number, it's the most important thing you could do. And the second that's tied to that is probably showing up on time. But give us the why would give me your gut reaction, Rick, to we learn more from our failures than our successes. How could a client be better prepared for the good contractor that's going to show up? What would what would give that what how could the consumer put themselves in the driver's seat or certainly be a much better passenger in this thing of this odd dance that we all do of having strangers over and talking about money and being in your most private areas with your home the underwear drawer isn't quite pushed in, or the kids made them, they got
Mm.
Legos all over the place. How could a client be better prepared for that good contractor that's showing up?
Well, it's like anything. They're professionals. If you're hiring a professional, you accept their opinion and their knowledge. But you're like, going to Dr. Google and then going to your physician and saying, this is what's wrong. Well, why are you here? If you know exactly what's wrong with you, why are you coming to me?
Hmm.
So educate yourself, but understand that that education is just a sliver of the knowledge that that professional has got for you. And come with some knowledge and come with some questions. There's nothing wrong. A good contractor will more than happily answer questions for you. And if they have questions about this, that, or whatever it is, ask them. I heard that do you find, I heard that X, Y, whatever, maybe how to insulate the basement, that type, because there's always a debate back and forth, how do you insulate the basement properly? And the contractor may have opinions, but if you ask the contractor and you come at them with, both barrels blazing that you know exactly how to do this, a good contractor is probably just going to turn around and walk away. Be
I had to
curious.
do that a couple times.
Yeah, be curious. Have some knowledge. Same as I went to my physician with some knowledge, and they said, "Well, no, that's actually not the case."
Mhm.
Okay, great. Oh, I'm missing. Who knew that nowadays you'd be misinformed from stuff that you see on the internet? So,
Abraham Lincoln said that exact same thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So you
yeah,
said be curious and have some
yeah,
knowledge. I think that's
yeah,
two fantastic things. Be curious and have some knowledge.
yeah, and but not to the point where you're, condescending. And you're a contractor, so you get it. A lot of people come across as they have knowledge, they want it, they feel as if they're empowered with this knowledge, and they become condescending to the contractor who has had thousands of hours worth of experience, and they're questioning somebody that is an expert. It's okay to question an expert, but don't be questioning their knowledge and their ability.
Yeah, if I could add a quick dovetail to that, and I think what you said is perfect. It's not to a prepared contractor, to a professional, to an expert in their field. You're not going to hurt their feelings with
No.
what you say.
Hmm.
You may lose a good contractor with how you say it.
Right. Yeah. Like it'd be the question, load bearing walls are all usually the question that people, I want to take that wall out. Oh, you do you? Well, is there a reason why? Yeah, I just want it gone. Well, we can certainly do that if you like, but these are the things that we're going to experience. And if you question and then take your knowledge in from the expert and say, okay, great, that makes perfect sense to me. And then ask some follow-up questions, what would be involved and that sort of thing. They're more than happy to answer that. And if you approach it the right way, it is a relationship and it is communication. But if you start doubting the knowledge of your contractor, the person doing service in your home or your office, you're going to lose the disconnect, and chances are they don't want to do work for you. But as a contractor, there's nothing. Like you said, you were never offended. With a genuine question.
I love good questions. I really do.
Absolutely, more than happy to talk to you. But a lot of people in the trades don't. They just let me do my job. You just go over there and grab a
Well,
coffee and I'll.
good questions show a contractor what we
Yeah,
need to focus on because we're learning you as well. We're as a client. If you express to me, it's really important that we talk about dust control or hey Rob, why do we sand the walls between coats of paint? Or why do we need floor protection down on the floor that says it can't get hurt? It just on and on and on. That your questions show me what's important to you. And
Absolutely.
that's a backdoor way of telling me what's important. Is your contractor listening?
Hmm.
And you should be. And so
Hmm.
great questions are, man, I love that because the more you know as a client, Rick, the easier
Hmm.
my job is. I say that almost, shoot, 70% of the time. The more they know about what they want, that very quickly tells me if how I can help them or if I can't.
So absolutely, and ask, if you're hiring somebody to come and do a renovation for you, ask them how much will you personally be involved in the project. Will you be here every day? Are you the sales rep? How much of the work do you subcontract out? Do you
Mhm.
have sub trades coming in? What does this, ask those questions, how long and do. What does dust
Mhm.
look like? What do you do here? Will I need to provide a washroom for you? Those sorts of things. And a good contractor will lay out the expectations. And so the thing about that and consultation with the client. That handoff, when you're handing off the client to your team and your subcontractors, it is so critically important that you lay out the client expectations to your team. Our
Mhm.
client expects that the following things are going to be happening.
Wait, why would I
There,
need to tell my team what's important to the client?
because some people are very fussy, and there's nothing wrong with that. They don't want you parking here. They don't want you eating lunch in their house, or they're more than happy to have you, sit down and either way.
Shoot, some of them will make you lunch.
Yeah, that's happened before. I remember, I've had lots of, they're more than happy to make coffee and this for it, but you have to lay out the rules of the game to your team, to your subcontractors when you're doing
Mhm.
projects like that.
Mhm.
And if you don't, if they just show up and they kick the door in and start browbeating the your client, don't be surprised if your client turns on you.
Oh man. Yep, we've all been there from that the client that'll make you food to the client that says, I don't even want you guys sitting in the truck at lunchtime. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
We had a guy tell
Yes.
us that we couldn't use the bathroom.
Oh.
He would
Uh,
this guy wouldn't shake my hand.
oh.
Uh,
Oh.
this guy, his last check, he had a Dodge Durango parked in the driveway. And I went up there to get the last check. He sent me an email and told me that the last check was in the Durango that was parked and it was under the floor mat. What did I shoot your child? Did I slash your tires? This guy was so weird. You got to go one more step than what the customer has told you. If the customer told you, man, that dust protection is important, take it to one more step more. Um, if they've asked you to wear blue jeans, man, wear slacks. It goes one more step beyond because they're giving you clues.
Hmm.
Kind of like dating. You got to pay attention like that.
Absolutely. And that's a great point that you brought up. So everybody's had to deal with tradespeople, whether it's a mechanic or this, car mechanic, whatever. You should, in that experience, know what you're looking for in a contractor or a tradesperson. So when a client calls up and asks you questions, it could be something as simple. Do any of your team members smoke cigarettes? Because maybe that person is deathly allergic to cigarette, or they can't stand the smell, or whatever it is, or those types of things. They've experienced it. Those are successes and failures. So be particular about who you want doing whatever it is. And as a contractor, if you work with people that, yeah, the project was done, but it wasn't a whole lot of fun, that's a failure. Learn from that. But take a look at the people that you really enjoyed working with, where they're whatever they're like, and go get more of those. Because if
Mhm.
those wonderful clients that you have that make you coffee and this, and they have wonderful people who are wonderful friends who would be wonderful people to work for. So ask them, You're so nice to work with. I love working with you. Do you have any other people, friends or family that are like you that we could do the same kind of projects with? Oh yeah, Rob, of course, of course. When they connect you.
And if you really, really like a client, do something for them too.
Hmm.
Get them that, $100 Amazon gift card or Walmart gift card, hand deliver it. What season of the year is it? Do they celebrate Arbor Day or or Halloween or whatever they celebrate? Bring something that's in keeping with the year and honor them for giving you the opportunity to earn their business and having you, the stranger, in their home. And hopefully now you're at least friendly, if not friends, or certainly more than just a business acquaintance now. Because some of these people, we just finished a huge uh, master bathroom remodel. Bathroom remodel's 300 square feet, massive bathroom. And we were there from the first time we met to the time we were done, it took us about 2.5 months or so, a little longer than what we had anticipated, but that's okay. It's a bigger job. But honor those people. You and I are supposed to honor the people that give us opportunities. And we should do that. We shouldn't take it lightly because you never know the connections. My old pastor used to say, "You and I are one book or one new relationship away from our breakthrough," and that is true.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not trying to get hokey on you or get all in the feels, but how you those, and we've talked about on this podcast how the seeds that we sow. If you honor those people that are giving you a business, because you and I don't sell things to giraffes, do we? We
Hmm.
we don't sell them to aardvarks. We everything that we do is in, around, by, of, and for people.
Hmm.
So take care of those people, honor them, and show them how appreciated they are. Because every single one of us that's listening right now can think back to the person that went out of their way to say, "Man, Rick, you are a blessing in my life. Thank you." And Rick is a
Hmm.
blessing in my life.
Thank
And I've told him that many times, but he is. And I would cut my left hand off before I would ruin our relationship. And I want
you.
to honor Rick for the time, shoot, the time he's spending with me right now. He can't get that back. This hour that he's spending with me, because he's chosen to spend it with me and by consequence with you, the listeners, he can't do anything else. And so we owe him for that time that he's given because it took him years to compile the opinion that he's giving now, and myself as well.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Right back at you. I feel the same way. Yeah, it's successes and failure get you closer. It's like dating, you know. I
Yeah, I've
think
heard
back
that
of
somewhere.
yeah, think back of the people that you've dated in the past. It's like, no, I don't want to do I don't want somebody that's taller, or this and that, and then you whittle it down to it's like this is what I want. This is what I would like, and there's nothing wrong with asking for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. When you as the contractor, come prepared and and open-minded, I think you're going to learn a lot more, much more quickly. And you as the client, well, here, I'll let Rick answer that. You as the client, when you've learned more from your failures than your successes, how can you be better prepared for that new contractor that's showing up?
Yeah. How can you be better prepared? Um, the communication. So if you had a contractor show up and do work in your home or your office or whatever, and they weren't communicative, you have to tell them. I want you to be able. You need to tell me what's going on here. I want status updates every single day of what's happening.
Hmm.
This is what I expect. Are you willing to do this? Yes, I am.
Well, wouldn't that
Um,
be, we probably hear that maybe a half a time out of 10, right? Not even one time out of 10. Boy,
yes,
that'd be refreshing to hear that. Hey, here's exactly what I want.
yeah. Yeah, and be very clear. And there's nothing wrong with setting boundaries up about the things that you want. You're the consumer. You're the one paying for it. Tell them what you want. This is what I want, and I won't settle for less. Is that something you can deliver on? No, that's not something we do. But great. And a good contractor will say, say you live in a high-rise condominium, and you call a company to come over and do service in your high-rise condominium. I'm sorry, man, but we don't do that kind of work. Great, thank you. Or they say we specialize in condominium renovations. Perfect. That's exactly who you want to do. So it's being those people have the reason they may or may not do different types of work in different types of areas because of their experience, what they've experienced. We've experienced over the years that right? The same as I've experienced over the years that residential service work is not something that you want to be doing because most people who call you out of the blue for a repair normally don't look after the stuff that they have. And it is broken, they're in pain, they need it fixed, they just want it to go away. If they called you and said, can you come out sometime this week and take a look at something that I have that needs some repair? I'm usually, afternoons are fine by me. But if they call you at 11 o'clock at night to come over and fix something, they don't do maintenance on it. That's my experience. I could be wrong, but that is my experience. So it just be super careful about the lessons learned and pay attention to them. Because if you said in the beginning, if you continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, that's the definition of insanity. So learn from your successes, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we learn more from our failures. And I think we're a smart or a more intelligent person when we do that. When my kids were tiny, I'd say, "You're smart if you learn from your failures. You you are wise if you learn from others' failures." And that's not mine. I kind of stole that,
Yeah.
but I was getting to the point that they should slow down and think, and they remember that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm I'm sure I've browbeat them enough, but
Yeah, for sure.
what do you know? What do you tell your kids when they're little? And that's just one of them. Don't steal, don't lie, don't do these because they're going to come back to bite you. And they've all done their share of that stuff. But it's good to see them now that they're all adults and that it comes back around. And when you see that the fruit that particular tree bears, man, it sure is nice. So you as the consumer, it will pay off if you are prepared for that contractor that's coming up, if you've got your expectations, and if you also take a look at them and think, man, this guy he came early and
Hmm.
he's got a nice pickup truck or a nice this or that, and he's clean. He's prepared for that meeting. Sometimes we have to come right from the job site to you, and sometimes I'm a little more dusty than I want to be, but most of the time I'm for a sales presentation, I'm ready and I show up early. Uh,
Hmm.
but it's not the second time that I've done that. It's probably the 500th, 600th time that I've met a client and give them some grace because that guy is prepared for the meeting and he or she wants to get to know you to find out if they can help you. So
Yep.
let's learn from our failures and our successes. And my bone of contention is that we learn more from our failures than we ever could from our successes.
I
So,
think yeah, I agree.
do you have any final words for us? And then I want to talk about a few other things that we've got coming up and a few sponsors that we've got coming up. Rick.
Nope, no, I'm good. You take over, Rob.
Yeah, so we're working on some things now, and we've got two sponsors now. One is a marketing company, so that we can start diversifying more than of what we're talking about, the different topics and those types of things. And also, as we gain more followers and listeners and viewership, however that is said, um, we'll have different types of questions coming in, and we want to address those directly. So we've got a marketing company coming in that is a sponsor for us, Madman Marketing, and then we've just got a brand new sponsor. She's a kind of a health and wellness mindset coach, rather, and I think our mindset is very important. And I know we talk quite a bit about that, but we want to bring in an expert for you so that you guys can glean not just from two contractors or a business coach and a contractor, but you can learn from somebody that's all they do.
Hmm.
We've
Yeah,
got
love
that
it.
coming up. And then there was one other thing. What was it? Oh, and then I've got we've got some sales training that's coming up. Maybe you guys can benefit from that. A business coach of mine that I've known since 1999, so 27 years now. That's weird to say. more than half of my life I've known this person. His name's John Farmer, and he'll be joining us on a future podcast. And he's going to be giving us he's coming from the home improvement industry, but he's going to be giving us his take on sales and the things that he focuses on to be a better salesperson, to be a better, not just better at business, but being better for your client. Because, I tell you what, if there's not a good fit between you and your client, man, don't beat your head against the wall. Just
Mm-mm.
grab your hat and your paperwork and just thank them for the time and wish them well. And if it's not a good fit, it's way better than beating that dead horse for 6 months until they're finally off your back. So,
Yeah.
but we've got some things that we're planning for you, and I'm excited about it. And I hope that you guys like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on YouTube. Maybe you found us there or on Spotify. But we're excited for what the future brings, and we'll have more episodes coming out with regularity. We're hoping to shoot for one about every week or every other week.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Robert.
Mr.
Well,
Harris, as always.
hope you have enjoyed the Two-Way Street podcast. I'm Rick Harris of Work Boot Consulting and Robert Very of St. Louis Bath and Renovation. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rob.
To learn more about Rick, go to his website, workbootconsulting.com. And to learn more about Rob, go to his website, sdlbr.com. Until next time, work on bridging that gap. Remember, it's always a two-way street.